Welcome, guys, to Continuous Profit, a special on location edition. Look at this. We are in the Florida Keys. Woo! And this is awesome. Kimmy, thank you for having us here. And, we connected on social. You've been on the show.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe we should do something together on the Keys.
I love that. And I love that you came and just crashed my dating retreat.
I don't know that I need dating. Let me clarify that.
No, but he's a really good dancer, and we needed the Latino kind of sexy salsa guy to help all my people get out of their head and into their body. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the night of dancing because, it's always fun. But you just finished an incredible retreat here with the people that you support and that you help. And, we go all around talking with entrepreneurs that, build their businesses online. And there's been like this, I guess, like trend that I've seen that a lot of people are like, I feel like they're scared for like live events or like experiences in person for some reason. They're like, I want to sell everything, but I want to sell it online, or I want to do, I kind of want to stay away. So I want to hear your thoughts initially, right? You've been doing this for a while now.
For a long time. And what we see are kind of trends in dating with online dating versus in real life dating. So what you're hearing in the business world, it's the same thing. And I think during the pandemic, everybody had to like go on the apps. They had to go online.
Yeah.
And what was funny is that the introverts were like, yes. And then the extroverts are like, no. And now it's like flipped.
Yeah.
And so everyone's trying to recalibrate. And what I'm seeing, at least, just in terms of like networking and connecting and even with businesses, is that people want to do business together in person. Yeah. But now it's like almost people forgot how to be with each other.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a trend towards like more in-person masterminds, in-person retreats. People are jonesing for that. And as AI gets stronger in this world, the need for connection and just socialization is getting stronger.
Absolutely. I think that's like my next point. We've been talking obviously a lot about AI and this content creation. I think first, a lot of people were like super scared of AI maybe, right? Because they were going to outperform or like, substitute, the real entrepreneur, the real person. But I think it's creating an effect of like craving for that real connection, right? Whether that's like real authentic like content, maybe like that we're creating like no filters, no nothing. But also experiences that the ones that you're designing for your customers and your community.
Yes.
So I think that's super important. And I got to see it firsthand, that connection.
Did.
Yeah. So are you always like that? Or like I feel like you always seeked that, personal connection, right?
Yeah, no. And actually that's the thing. It's been my kind of message to people. And I always say that your dating portfolio should be like your financial portfolio. You need to diversify as much as possible in order to get results, in order to create connections. Yeah. And, so many people put all their eggs in one thing. Even with business, you see that. It's like, this is it. Yeah. So for a long time, people are like, it's online dating. But then people lost the ability to connect with each other. And so for me, the more you put yourself in all different kinds of avenues, and honestly in business too, the greater success. So it's never a good idea to put everything in one place, and that's where you get burned out. And then when something doesn't work, you don't know how to pivot. So it has been always my message.
I love it. Since like day one of Continuous Profit, we have this saying, table face, right? Which in Spanish is cara tabla. And we use it in Venezuela almost like you use it when you go get something that you really like with no excuses. Normally
I love that.
in the dating world. So you go out, you talk to this girl and you tell, hey, you have beautiful eyes. I'm very attracted to you. Can we, go out? And that's like that upfront messaging like that. It's what we call cara tabla. So we started grabbing that term and applying it to like our invites. And in our first like 100 episodes, we got every single person that we wanted in our show. So, today with the people that we have in studio or that are in our community, because like, how do I talk to like that business? Or how do I talk to the CEO of so-and-so? You're like, you go ask, right? Like, not just like DM, but give them a phone call, like show up at their place, ask for a meeting, right? Like that cara tabla, like table face is awesome. And what I saw you with your group the other night doing is teaching them how to actually do that, right? We share a story with this guy that saw the girl of his dreams, right? And
it was so painful. But yeah.
But it does apply.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so weird because literally the theme all this weekend was just jump. Just jump. And there were so many beautiful metaphors for that. Like we went on a boat and it started pouring. And this one guy who's so scared to approach women, he was the first one to jump. And he's like, well, I'm going to get wet anyway. It's like, what if you apply that to your dating life, like, and that it is. But that's when like opportunities are created. It's funny because a lot of men will say, well, I don't want to come across as creepy. It's a big thing that I said, well, you realize that in your efforts to not be creepy, you end up being creepy by hesitating because now you're not doing anything but staring. And same like with business, right? Like you're not doing anything but like
just hovering
over something, right? Or just making your website perfect until you get that, thing going or your podcast going.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen that all the time.
Yeah.
People, I should get a podcast going. And then like
been
2 years
about
later,
it for 2 years. And I'm like, well, why don't we start? Right? Like
just go.
That's awesome. So, okay. I wanna transition a little bit to like the in-person, like the business side of like the in-person.
Yes. Yes.
The most traction that we ever get is always at live events for any reason, like networking. We creating content. So there's a few events that are good for us, like Podcast Movement. There's a bunch in our industry that we go to, and then from the relationships that we make there, we gain a ton of momentum. So I want to hear your point of view on attending these events and kind of like what your strategy is from content to this, right? Because you use content in a very unique way.
I do.
Not just your own platform, but you're also on TV, on like all these shows. You have like these incredible, colorful dresses that you wear. And that's all part of that's all part of your strategy. So I want you to break down a little bit of that, and then from there to your own events, because that's a whole different ballgame, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, like I said about diversifying the portfolio, I this came from, I'll just like throw myself under the bus, is like I am not I'm not a marketer, right? Like I'm not this online girl that does all this hacks, behind the scenes. I don't buy Facebook ads. I'm not. So I had to figure out something that felt good for me and something that also, it was my training. I mean, I'm a trained therapist. So, for the longest time, I made a living by just getting a salary to help people. To actually charge now to help people, that took a long time. That was a journey for me.
Yeah.
So what I figured out is that I just, I also have a theater background and an improv background. I'm like, well, using those things that are my passion, so the media, podcasting, all of those things, to just get people into my circle, my community. And from there, people can go in different steps.
Yeah.
Well, I figured out a couple of years ago that, wow, like a lot of my leads were coming from podcasts or and live workshops that I do on Zoom. And that's kind of the funnel that has been, everything has a live component. Even I don't do recorded webinars or anything like that. Everything is live.
Yeah.
Even I have something called Kimmy's Love Hub. And that is, I know.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's where all my members can practice with each other the skills that I teach them. I really focus on dating skills. And so there's a lot of ways that people can learn this stuff.
Yeah.
And so the most powerful one is the in-person retreats. And I started doing co-ed ones, and I was doing ones for women. And I like to go to different places. And what's kind of fun is like for women, from a business standpoint, we are community-based as a gender. And so there's a sisterhood that was really forming. So people want to keep moving on with each other.
Yeah.
And then for men, they just like the idea that there's like women. Right. So like we all are motivated by different things. And women obviously want the men, but to have each other's perspective is so powerful.
Yeah, so unique.
Yeah. And so the bond and the friendship that has formed from these retreats, people keep on going. So there's always something to sell into, is my point. And it's cyclical, so if people can't go to the next event, well, then maybe they work with me one-on-one, or maybe they join the Love Hub. And so I worked really hard to try to find different avenues to help people. And so that's where I am.
Yeah, I love it. It's early in like the entrepreneurial journey. They're like, we hear the advice of like stick to one thing, you know, until you get to this thing. And I, it's hard when you're trying to figure out like where your place in the market is, but also like what's good for you to execute, right?
Yeah,
Because like we're living this with our business right now, right? We have our big service, which is, you know, we produce a ton of content for people that already have long form content, right? Then we acquired the studio, so now we're into podcast production. In a couple of days, which by the time that this is out, Business Creator Club is out, which is the community aspect, right? And we've been like hearing this feedback, and I feel personally, and I don't know, I might be wrong on this one, but for me to execute, I need to like feel it and be like, okay, I really enjoy doing this thing and I want to do it, not because somebody else is telling me. That's a lot of friction for me. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs like maybe go on the route that there's more friction because somebody else tells them instead of listening to what their people are asking them to do.
Oh my God, yes.
So do you have a moment like that where you're like, man, I was trying this thing and it's like, it might be working a little bit, but I want to follow like my gut, and like this is the thing that came out of that. What was
100%. I mean, all of what you said is true for me in my business. You know, there's so much noise out there, and there's always going to be people who say, oh, you got to try this, or no, you got to do this. For me, what it was is that people kept trying to pigeonhole me to just work with women, like one gender, or just focus on man. And I said, no, actually, my one focus is that I do co-ed stuff. I said, that is my one focus. And I don't think there's anyone else out there that are doing these kind of commingling. You know, it's like, why are we separating the boys and the girls? Like, let's get each other's perspective. That's how we learn from each other.
Yeah, especially in an open environment, right, where you can actually share freely.
Where it's safe and it's free. Like, I'm never about at my workshops that like, come to my dating retreat and you'll find your soulmate. Like, I was a matchmaker for a long time too. And that was one of the kind of, I would say, holes in the business, is that there was this expectation and promises like, in my magic kingdom, you will find your soulmate. And it's like, but then the same problems would exist. They would come to me, they'd have the same patterns that they would have in their relationships. They also, like the people there, they could have found on their own. So what I started doing was coaching on the side.
Yeah.
And I realized it's like, no, it's like everyone has sticking points. Everyone has their journey, and our adversity are our gifts in disguise, you know, sometimes, but we don't see how the patterns that get created over time and how to shift them. So when I started coaching people, people started just finding people on their own. And so now where I land is like exactly what you said. It's like, I need to just go with what like lights me up.
Yeah.
Because that energy is what's gonna like almost want people to work with you, right?
Absolutely.
Like if you're trying to do something that like the online marketer is doing, and I tried that, to be honest, like I tried the like whole ebook funnel, you know, like back in the day. Do you remember that?
Lead magnet to a free book. Yeah.
And like, I totally fell on my face with that. Like there was just nothing, I had no business from that, and I still don't.
Yeah.
So I decided to let it all go and just go with my passion.
I love it. Well, Kimmy, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for having us here and experience kind of your live event. And to be completely clear, I wasn't looking for love. I found love. Just
but people can learn from you.
Thank you.
That's the other thing.
No, I think it was super cool also to me to see kind of like how you run it, because in our heads also for us, we've been like, okay, what would be like a cool event that we can do with our energy? And like we're gathering all these ideas from incredible entrepreneurs like you. And the fact that, you know, we're in this paradise, which, by the way, we're losing light.
I know we're losing that.
But it's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for coming onto the show. Let me record this and having me on. What's like one piece of advice for that entrepreneur that is like is building something right now and they just want to get to the next stage? What's something that really helped you out?
Just go.
Go?
Just go. Like we've been talking about. Table face. Just go. Just do it. And because the more you're in your head, just like what I tell with people who are dating, that hesitation like loses time, momentum, opportunities.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as perfection. I think a lot of people who are perfectionists, that's what makes them hesitate.
Yeah.
And actually, it's the mistakes and the things that don't work is what allows you to succeed.
That's awesome. Thanks, Kimmy.
Thank you.
For those listening or watching, go to contentisprofit.com. You can check all the episodes, and businesscreator.club. We should be live. go to the Facebook group. Content is profit on Facebook. We're running a challenge. Go join. It's completely free. Let's put our message out there and help other people. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Can I say where to come see me?
Absolutely, yes. Oh my God, I'm not following that.
Just in
Yes.
case.
Well, Kimmy, the most, yeah, of course. Go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, you can find me. Well, obviously, my podcast, which you've been on. It's
Yeah,
called
all the links are gonna be right below. You gotta do scroll down and hit there.
Oh, okay,
But-
great. Well, it's called The Charisma Quotient. That's my podcast. All my socials are at Kimmy Seltzer, just like the water. And my website is kimmyseltzer.com.
Yes, you will find her in all the TV networks too. I always see your posts that you're on TV interview. I'm like, oh my God, so cool.
Oh, so fun.
Well,
Thank you
thanks,
so
yeah.
much for having me.
No, absolutely. We'll see you guys later.